my lovelies, and welcome back to another episode of Aligned and Thriving for Teachers. Although I have to say, today's episode isn't just for teachers. This one is really for anyone who's ever felt completely drained after a conversation, overwhelmed by someone else's mood, or like they're constantly carrying energy that's not even theirs. Yep, we're talking about toxic energy. Now, before you roll your eyes or picture some woo-woo sage burning situation, stay with me. This is practical, real-life stuff that I've had to learn and live through, especially during my coaching certification. So what I've discovered about my energy, mindset, identity, and behavior have literally changed how I show up in every area of my life. So let's dive in. What is toxic energy, really? Toxic energy is basically unhealed energy. When someone's operating from pain, stress, resentment, trauma, or just emotional wounds that they haven't dealt with, that stuff leaks out. It becomes the energy that they transmit through their words, their tone, and sometimes just even their presence. But here's the thing I want to be really super clear on. A toxic person is not the same as a bad person. They're just someone carrying some really unhealed stuff. And we all do that sometimes. You could be someone's hero and also someone else's villain. I've had people in my life that I've looked up to when I've had others that couldn't stand them. And why? Because people have had different experiences of us depending on where we're at in certain aspects of our lives. So it's not about judgment, it's about awareness. Awareness of what you're absorbing and what you're giving off to. So where does toxic energy really come from? It can come from people going through their own toxic experiences and then it sort of feeds off them. It can come from spending too much time listening or engaging with toxic people. It can be coming from constant complaining, negativity, or just judgmental environments. And it can come from us when we're stuck in that loop of gossip, blame, or burnout. The truth is, if you're surrounded by toxic energy long enough, or if you're holding on to some unhealed emotions, you will start releasing it too. But here's the powerful part. You don't have to take it on. You can learn to recognize it, release it, and protect yourself from it. So here's some signs that you might be in some toxic energy or you're carrying it. You might feel drained after certain conversations. You notice you're constantly venting, complaining, or blaming. You feel like you're walking on eggshells around someone in particular. You catch yourself spiraling over things you can't control, and you're reacting more than you're responding. And here's the big one. If you're saying some things over and over and nothing changes, it might be the time to pause and check in on your own energy. So there's a few signs. That's not all of them, but that's just a few things that might point out to you that you're sitting in that toxic energy space. Now I want to talk to you about a concept that's really changed the game for me, and that's mindset to identity to behavior. You have to shift your mindset first. Then, over time, that new mindset becomes part of your identity. And then what happens? Well, your behavior naturally flows on from that. It's like how we teach kids. The first do this, then you get that. You don't get a student to write an essay or write a massive story before they know how to write a sentence, do you? It's the same thing here. You can't expect to set yourself strong boundaries or protect your peace if your mindset is still stuck in that people-pleasing, guilt, or survival type mode. So for me, I had to start seeing myself as someone who protects her energy. That's my identity now. And because of that, my behavior has shifted. I prioritize my morning routines. I go for a walk on the beach when I can. I say no without an apology because that's who I am now. I don't have to stand up for that. I mean, yes, I'm standing up for myself, but I don't have to justify that to anyone else, I should say. because that's me. And remember, you come first. Which leads me into my next point, which is another mindset model that I am working on and trying my best to be better at, which is the I, we, all. Okay? We also do this in our teaching. I do, we do, you do. That's pretty much the same thing. But this is I, we, all. You have to start with yourself. And if you haven't got that over the past few episodes of self-care, you really need to start getting that message. It starts with you. You can't care for your students, your partner, your family, your team if you haven't checked in with yourself first. You cannot pour from an empty cup. But so many of us do. And we flip the script and we go, all we, I. We focus on everyone. We focus on the group, the class. Then we worry about ourselves. We're taking care of everyone else, the school, the house, the inbox. Then maybe you just find yourself 5 minutes at the end of the day to collapse on the couch. And that is where burnout lives. That's where resentment grows. That is where toxic energy builds and thrives because you are operating from a place of absolute depletion. There's nothing there. So for me, I know I am not my best self if I do not do my morning routine. If I skip my breath work, if I don't walk on the beach, I get snappy. And I'm not just carrying that toxic energy. I then start passing it on. And if you're a parent, you'll see this reflected in your kids instantly. Because if you start throwing off those negative vibes, that toxic energy, they will thrive on it. And they will poke and prod and set off every button imaginable just because they've started to get that energy too. And that's the easiest way to prove to you all that toxic energy spreads. It's like a virus. It will go viral. Like I want this podcast to. I want this to go viral. But I do not want your toxic energy to be spread along to everyone else. So let yourself come first. I first, then we together, then everyone. That's where the magic happens. So how are you going to release this toxic energy? So what do you do when you're carrying it? I've got some practical ways to help you release it. So I've learned a lot, as I said, through my coaching course, but to help you a bit more, there are a few things that you can do to help release it in a safe way where you're not releasing it onto others. The first one's movement. So this is like your sport. For me, I play hockey, like I've said before. You might go for a walk, you might dance, you might shake, you might punch a pillow. If you want to get your vibe back to a really high vibe state, this is the car karaoke, singing your heart out to whatever song it might be. And there are some really good car karaoke playlists on Spotify. If you just search, you can find yourself one that fits your era and sing your heart out. This will get you back into the high vibe state. If you're not a singer, maybe you're a dancer. Dance around your kitchen, put on a song and dance. If you ask my children, they love rocking out and having a bit of a dance moment, and it just puts everyone's vibe back in that positive state. So you might do one of those things when it comes to movement. It might be a ceremonial type thing. You might write down all of your frustrations and then you could burn it or rip it up. And when I say burn it, please do it safely. Like do it in the sink where you can put it out, or do it outside in your incinerator, whatever it might be. And yes, I've done this before. I have written down everything bad that happened to me in a year because I was over that year and I wanted to be wiped clean of it. So I got it all out, bits of paper. I think there's about 10 pages, got it all done. And then when we lit a massive bonfire, I basically said goodbye to all of that negative energy and I burnt it. Like that's all it needs to be. You might do breath work. Now, this helps to really slow down your nervous system and regulate yourself. And it doesn't have to be hard. I've talked to you about this before. It is just focusing on your breath, because what you take in then goes out. You can imagine in your head that you are breathing in positive energy and you are breathing out all of those toxic emotions. Okay, so if you need to practice, it's just like this. You breathe in for 4, all that positive. So you go in, hold, and then as you breathe out, that would be releasing all of that toxic energy. And you would do that and slow yourself down. You can start out with 5, maybe go up to 10 times, and then you've reset your nervous system and you're releasing some of that energy. You might also do some anger work. This is safe release. This is if you've ever gone to Melbourne and chucked axes or broken plates, like all those fun things. If you find those fun activities to do in the holidays, that might be a good way to do it because you're not taking your anger out on someone else. You might also choose to journal, which again, that's part of my routine. I journal and you can get rid of some of the stuff that you're holding on to. So what are you really holding on to here and release it? I did create some journaling prompts and things for Teachers Pay Teachers. So if you have a look there, that will help you there as well. And then last but not least is mindfulness. So coming back into your body and the present moment and focusing on all of those good things. You might find a really good mindfulness clip on YouTube, or again, Smiling Mind, or another mindfulness app that you might like to use for that. You just need to find what works for you. For me, as I've said before, I love movement, my breath work, my journaling, my mindfulness. There's a whole bunch that I do. It's not just one. It just depends on the day. But I will always do my journaling of a night, and I'll always work on my breath work or mindfulness stuff in the morning to try and set myself up for the day. So that's working on you. But what about if you have to handle other people's toxic energy? So let's be real. You're going to encounter toxic energy in other people. It's inevitable. There's no avoiding it, okay? So here's what you're going to have to try and do. Call out the behavior, not the person. Like, oh, hey, that kind of energy doesn't feel good for me. Or, you need to detach yourself, but do it with love. Like, do it in a loving way. I get that you're going through something, but I just can't carry that for you. You can use boundary language. When you say this, I feel this, and I need space when that happens. And I've had to use that language before, and I've certainly had to use that language before within my family space because we can go in those negative spirals. And I've had to say, look, when you say these words, I feel really hurt, and I need some space from you right now. I just need some time. Give me a minute. And they have some time to reflect on their behavior as well. You might need to reflect on the truth. Like, I understand you believe that, but here's the full picture. And top priority, especially if you're a people pleaser, do not take it personally because it's not about you. It is them. It is like when you're looking at the child, you love the child, but you don't like the behavior. You like the person. It is just the behavior. They're not a toxic person. It's toxic energy. It's all their unprocessed stuff that they have to deal with. So again, if someone's refusing to take responsibility for their own energy, it is okay for you to walk away because you're allowed to choose your peace. Can these people with toxic energy change? Yes, absolutely, but only if they want to, because the work is on them. It is all about them and changing themselves. You can't change them. You can maybe guide them to a direction to work on themselves, but they're not going to change just because you want them to. They're not going to change because you try to change them. You can love them. You can support them, but you are not responsible for their healing. Your job is to protect your peace and your energy. They have to work on them. But as I said, you can love, you can support, but they're the only ones that can change that toxic energy themselves. Okay? The same as you. It's I, we, all. So my final thoughts for you today. Here's what I want you to remember. Toxic energy isn't about bad people. It's about unhealed energy. And you don't have to take that on. You can shift your own energy by starting with your mindset, changing to working on your identity, and then it's becoming a behavior. Put you first. You first is I, then the we, then all. And finally, you deserve to live and work in alignment, not just survival. Okay? Protect your peace. Love people without absorbing all of their stuff. And always, always come back to your why. Why are you doing this? What do you love about it? Why are you here? Because that will help bring you back. So thank you for joining me again today. Don't forget to hit the follow button so you don't miss an episode in the self-care series. And if this resonated with you, please let me know on Instagram, send me a DM, or check out the tools on Teachers Pay Teachers to help support your mindset and your well-being. And remember, you've got this. You are not alone. I've got your back. Your energy matters, and it is time for you to own it. I'll talk to you again soon.